welcome to Get Celebritized. I am so excited that you're here tonight because this is the place where we help entrepreneurs become successful and get to the top. No matter what the obstacles may be, we help you really find your best success. And each and every week, I bring on amazing guests, some celebrities, some just people like yourself that have made it to the top of their industry in one way or the another. And they come on and they share with you secret nuggets to the ways they have made it. Not the fluffy, just, oh, I was homeless and now I'm rich. And then, well, what happened in between? It's about what happened in between. What made the difference? Was it a certain person, a certain coach, something they learned along the way? Maybe it was a great book. Maybe it was a lot of things. But they're going to share those with you like you've never heard them before. I'm your host, Aurea McGarry. I'm an Emmy Award-winning TV show host and entrepreneur myself, the founder of Celebritize Your Business. Again, helping entrepreneurs make it to the top and become the go-to celebrity in their industry. So hang on to your hat because we're going to show you how we've turned our ideas into fruition, how we've turned our ideas into 6- and 7-figure incomes, and how you can too if you take these tips and put them to action in your life. So here we go. Without any further ado, I am so excited and so privileged and honored to bring to you tonight a superwoman, a super amazing entrepreneur that you are going to absolutely fall in love with. I know I have. And not just because she's amazing, because she's a powerhouse. And her goal and her passion is to help women entrepreneurs shine their voice. So let me tell you about her. Heather Ann Havenwood says, don't be just an expert, be a brand. Don't be a brand, be a voice. Is that not appropriate? So perfect. Heather Havenwood is an award-winning media mogul known as the Chief Sexy Boss, author of the top-selling book, Sexy Boss, How Female Empowerment is Changing the Rulebook in Business, and it is. She was recognized by the Stevie Awards as the most innovative woman of the year in social media for 2020. No small feat. We all know what 2020 was like. Named top media mogul for 2020 by Women of Achievement Association for her work with women. You listening up? You're going to hear from her in just a second. From making her first dollar online back in 2001, Heather Ann is now on a life legacy mission to help 10,000 people to start, launch, and grow a 6-figure consulting expert and influencer business online. If you're not online, you need to hear about how to be online. And if you are online, you're about to kick it up a notch. She wholeheartedly believes that every person is an influencer and a leader, and it's time that their voice be uncaged, to be heard, to shine, and to earn 6 figures and beyond. And she's doing it. She is a visionary and founder of Influencer Growth Academy, along with Influencer Tribe, a global entrepreneur community, hostess of the Heather Havenwood Uncaged podcast, and named by Huffington Post as top female entrepreneur to watch. She's also a nonprofit female. She's also the founder of Nonprofit Female Business Associates. You know I love philanthropists. So here she is, the one, the only, Heather Ann Havenwood. I am so excited to bring her to the stage. Here she comes. Heather.
Oh, hey. Hello, love.
Hello. Oh my gosh, you are just a superwoman. I'm so excited. And I just want all the listeners to know that I met you on Clubhouse because you and I are big fans of Clubhouse. Where else would I be able to meet somebody like you in this still quarantine? We're in 2021, but not out doing events like we used to. So welcome to Get Celebritized.
Thank you. And now I live in your ex-hometown.
You do? You live in St. Pete, Florida. You're stomping all around the pier, downtown St. Pete. You'll probably run into my best friend soon. It's such a small world.
Yeah, it's a small world. And it's such a big world at the same time. Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for the intro. I really appreciate it. It's always one of those things when someone reads my full intro, I'm always like, who is she talking about?
I know. It's like,
that's all me. It's all real. And yet I'm still achieving, right? Going for the achieving and what's next. So
Never done.
DNA.
Never done. Well, I want to
known.
start off with the reason why we connect in the first place, and then you can expand on and some other things as well. But podcasting right now is how we met. You had a workshop, which I highly recommend to anybody listening, because you said something that was unbelievable, and I was like, could this be true? And you had a workshop in 3 days, launch a podcast, start to finish. And you said, doesn't matter if you have an idea or not, get in this workshop and you will launch it Sunday night. I'm like, really? But you said, I believed you. And you have an amazing followingship. You've got almost 30,000 followers on Clubhouse. I'm like, well, this woman obviously knows what she's doing. People follow her, big community. So let me give it a whirl. And here we are. Get Celebritized was birthed and launched in 3 days. Thanks to you, Heather. So talk to people about why they should have one and how this can come to fruition with your help.
So we're on the eve of Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp going down for about 8 hours. Very good 8 hours of the day. It was a fascinating day, really. But my podcast didn't go down. Your podcast did not go down.
Mm-hmm.
Your RSS feed did not go down. When you have a podcast, you're a media. You're not a social media. So you're not on top of the servers of a Facebook, Instagram, whatnot. Now you can place them on there. You can add snippets and whatnot and repurpose content. But you're a media. That's why every CNN, MSNBC, Fox News anchor has to have their show, or every actor and actress and comedian now has a podcast too. And that's because it's a true media. And when you come from media, I mean, that's what was so fascinating about you specifically coming to my event, is because you are media. You're Emmy Award winning. I mean, you're on TV. And so when you got it, you're like, oh my God, this really is a media. Then you treated it like a media. So you now are a media company. Now, not everyone gets that all the time because they don't come from your amazing background. But it really is. And so that's why I believe women, men too, but I just have a heart for voice. And you saw in that 3-day program, it became this like transformational process of the third chakra, because we as human beings, majority of, especially women, go through life like, I don't matter. My message doesn't matter. My voice doesn't matter. What I have to say doesn't matter.
Or somebody does it better or bigger. Yeah.
Yeah. And so the fact that like you can put your message out there in the world in 22, networks around the world, not even including YouTube and beyond, it really is life-changing for a lot of people. So
Heather, one thing that really got me excited, because I'd been thinking about podcasting for a while now, just maybe the last 3 years. I kept talking to people about podcasting, like, oh, it's a lot of work, don't do it. Or yeah, you do it, but it's not for everybody. So it seemed like this whole nother thing, like, oh, it's so expensive. And I have not experienced any of that, but I was like, still kind of want to do it. But you know me, I love TV. But when I knew and found out from you that I could combine the two, but you said something pivotal to me, and talk to them about this, because I said, well, I have a YouTube channel. I really haven't done much with it, but it's good, like a media kit for me. So I've got my smart talk, my success talk, but it really never goes anywhere. And you said so. Tell listeners and the viewers what you told me, the difference between starting a podcast and a YouTube channel.
Oh my God, it's night and day.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned this. I mean, I knew this, but I really got this when I was being interviewed by a huge YouTuber. And he actually asked me to look at his podcast and what the difference is with YouTube. YouTube is a search engine. So how to make money online, how to curl your hair, right? How to do fake lashes, whatever.
I was thinking the same thing. That's so funny. I was about to say that.
Right? Like how to do all these crazy things. And then you find a channel and you just kind of go diving. But in podcasting, people don't go onto iTunes, iHeart, Spotify, whatever, and they don't do how to curl your lashes, right? Or whatever. They go category. So here's what podcasting is. Imagine back in the day, we went to this thing called a library or a Barnes and Noble or a bookstore. In the day, what are those? Back in the day, what we would do is we would walk in and go to the section we wanted, like marketing or business or relationships, right? We'd go to that section. And then in the section, we would browse, right? Maybe go to the sex section of relationships, or maybe the marriage, whatever. We would then go deeper into a category. That's podcasts. So
That's a
people
great way
who
to
want,
say that, Heather. I love that.
yeah. So like you're an entrepreneur show. Now, iTunes is not the best at categorizing. They do the job that they do, but that's changing. But that's how people think about podcasting. It's subconscious. But if they want a news political show, right? They go to podcast, they type in news, politics, and they might put their side there on conservative, liberal, whatever. So that's how people are thinking in podcasting. They're not going there and saying how to become a Democrat or how to become a libertarian or whatever. That's not their thinking. So that's why podcasting is so powerful, and that's why it's a true media. Very
And
different.
I love that analogy. You just, wow, I've never heard of that before. That's so great. It's a library, categories, dig deeper.
Yeah.
There you go. And it's kind of like what I do on Clubhouse. You find a club, then you find a room, then what they're talking about, and you listen in. And it's great information. But you also told me something that was really interesting. I don't know if you remember this, but you said something about the RSS feed.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the second part. So when you upload, like you're in Atlanta and I'm in St. Pete, and we upload to YouTube, it just kind of does this, unless we're doing paid ads or we've created our channel. That's how to. So, and it's only in maybe Florida or maybe, Atlanta. And an RSS feed, it's on a third-party server. So when we place it into a another network, as we call it, it's literally like flying over to Asia or flying over to India or the UK or so, and like placing it in their country, right? Like where they're gonna find it because the servers and all that, IP stuff. So that's the power. So when people say to me, I have a podcast that's only on YouTube, I'm like, you're on one of 25 potential networks in the world. You're getting 1/1/1/20th fifth of what's possible for your voice. If you're going to do all that work, you might as well be everywhere. So that's the difference. I think that's what caught you is like, oh, I want to be everywhere, as you should.
For all the work that we do. Yeah, and I knew that when I put it on that I'm not a YouTuber. I've heard a million times that YouTube is not the place for talk shows unless you're Jada Pinkett and you have the Red Table Talk, or you're Ashley Graham and you've got the whole production behind you of all these TV shows, and you already are a massive celebrity. Then people tune into you no matter what you do. But it's not the place for a talk show. Podcasting is the place for a talk show. Then you can do it the way I'm doing it. I'm making a video and I'm repurposing, I'm multi-purposing it. So if somebody wants to see it, it's live right now on YouTube. But the big powerhouse is when I upload this, like you taught me how to do on my Captivate, and then move it on to everywhere else. Then it goes global. And I don't see the big cost, and I have not spent a fortune on this at all. I mean, maybe they're talking about advertising it, or I've only just begun. But maybe you could talk to us about where's the big cost?
I don't know where the big cost. I think, well, you can go crazy. Here's the thing in everything, Aurea, is that it's not hard. It is a crap load of moving parts. But like I taught
you made it easy. You made it easy.
I made it easy. When I first got started, because I wasn't overwhelmed and didn't understand what was happening. So I spent $1,500 a month on editors and image people because I didn't understand. That's why when I teach the program with you guys, I'm like, no. I'm not going to have you guys spend $1,500 a month on all that. You don't need it. Here's how you do it in a simpler, faster way, effective way, and be able to get it out there. So because honestly, I believe that the lower the barrier of entry for you to do it, right, the more you're going to do it. And it's not about the glitter, even though I love your glitter hair. This is amazing. But it's about the message. It's about the content and the relationship. And you're so good at interviewing people.
Oh, so I love doing that. Really I
Yes,
absolutely
we
love
do.
spotlighting. Like just being here with you tonight is like the highlight of my week because I want people to know what you do. You've changed my life. You're so good at what you do, and that's why I have the Get Celebritized podcast to introduce my community to people like you that can take them to the next level. Because what I do with Get Celebritized and Celebritize Your Business is all about helping female entrepreneurs and a few great men how to become the voice of their industry. And doing podcasts is part of it, but being a great guest on people's show is another part of it. Hosting their
Oh,
own
yeah.
show may or may not be a part of it because hosting isn't for everyone. But if they have the desire, they can learn. But maybe they just want to be a great guest and get on the right podcast of other people's. So I think that's good as well. But it's really important
Yeah.
that we.
I don't ever, you know me, I'm against that. I'm
Against what?
against that. I'm against people just being other people's shows and not having their own show.
So
And
you
the
want
reason
everybody.
that,
So this is good. You want everybody to have their own show. Talk to us about that because there's people thinking, oh, I could never. Pour into them
well,
why they
then
can.
then they're not going to be on my show. And here's why. You
Cool.
have seen
Great.
firsthand how much it takes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got to be a recip. So the people that say, "Oh, I don't have my own show. I have not taken the time, energy, effort to create my own platform, to create my own brand, to create my own message, or create my own following. I just want to come onto your stage and take from you." And I'm like,
Interesting.
great, you can pay me. I have a fee
Well,
of
you could, yeah.
$250.
You could do that.
Right.
Do you
So
think every personality is meant to be a show host? Because I do know some people that just will never be a great host for whatever reason. What would you?
I
So
think
I like.
everyone would be great hosts if they are out there to attract their right fit client.
Okay, that's
I
interesting.
see.
Okay.
Yeah, I do believe that. I also think that because they're creating their own platform, and when you create, I've seen people who are CPAs who are the most dullest people ever who have their own platform, but they're attracting their right
Good
fit
try.
client who want that.
That's a great
So
point. Great point.
I don't think it's about personality. I think it's about attracting their
Message.
right fit client and creating their own stage and platform. Right. And I think
Right.
that's why I say that, because when I have people come in Clubhouse in my rooms, they go, "Well, I just want to be a guest." And I'm like, "Great, well then you pay a fee." If you don't pay a fee, then it's not an even exchange.
I like that too, though, so that you do give an option that people just haven't got their act together, haven't done it, but you also have another option. I love that you have answers and you have a way to fix the problem. So somebody comes to you, they don't have a podcast they could pay, or come to your next workshop and get their podcast launched. So I love that. So there's no like obstacle unless they want there to be an obstacle.
Yeah. I mean, like I used to work with a lot of New York agencies. I mean, you have a talk show in Atlanta, and you probably, I'm sure the show gets hit up by PR companies, things like that. And in those cases, like the PR companies are getting paid. So I've had a lot of PR companies reach out to me and I'm like, look, they can be on my show. If they don't have a show, then here's my fee. Now, sometimes they balk, like, oh, how dare you ask? And I'm like, oh, you're getting paid. Why should I get paid?
Exactly.
So, right. And so, but they're not, that's new. That's still up and coming because they're used to talk show companies like yourself to say, pitch us. If we like you, we'll take you. That's because the money exchange, the economics is very different on a talk show like that. You guys are getting paid different ways, not with me. Right. So,
Right. Or podcast.
yeah, it's very different. Now there are people that are just major celebrities. I'm like, come on, but
yeah, right.
you want to, right? But you want to know that when you create a podcast, you're creating a platform, and that's very, very valuable. Very, very valuable. We have learned in the last 24 hours from the Facebook debacle that eyeballs are very important and they're very valuable. So they were down for about 8 hours, and many people, who are in the media business who buy a lot of me, that's a long time to be down in their media buying.
Yeah,
a very, very long time. And so even though for us it was like only 8 hours in the media buying world, that's not 8 hours. That's a lot of minutes.
That's millions of dollars.
That's millions of dollars gone. So they had to really look at why is it that they're on Facebook is because they have the eyeballs. The platform is the power. And you have that. You've built that. It might say, well, there's not a lot. That's okay. Because the more you build that, Howard Stern, Joe Rogan, I could go on, Rush Limbaugh, who's no longer with us, that's where the power lies. And that's what some people don't want to do. It takes time.
Well, you've just totally flipped my thinking around. I'm so glad you have, because now I am going to teach all of my clients that, yes, you do have a platform. You do have a voice in this, and you don't have to be a host. You just need to be a messenger of what you do, what you sell, and be an educator. And every personality of tech can do that. And I'm going to send everybody to you to get
seriously,
their
everyone
podcast up, because you really made it easy. I cannot even emphasize that enough, that it's like, my God, where do I start? Until I met you, it was like, it would have never gotten done. And I love you, because I like things fast. If you want to do it, get it done. 3 days.
I know that about you.
Yeah, I know. Just get it done. If you're going to take 6 months to get this, I'm going to lose interest halfway through. But you did it 3 days, and it wasn't hard. It was time consuming, but so worth it.
Yeah.
Tell us, are you having another one? We've got to talk about this. What do you have?
So I have an upcoming event, influencerprofitlive.com. Love for you to come. It's we're going to go through the same pieces, which is about the message, the tech, and the publication. There's those 3 phases that we took you through. Now, what you went through is a hand-holding workshop where we stopped and made there was no one left behind. This is more of a live event. This is a live event that we're going to be going through the process, and we're going to be going through, but it's not going to be more of a workshop. We're not going to stop. We're going to be teaching the tools that you need, that into those 3 days, you can be on 22 networks around the world or more. But I will say that, we're talking about who would be a good host and who not. I mean, who are we to say, right? Who are we to say, who am I to say what would be a great host? Because we have so many different people's voices and messages being raised up, and everyone, I think, has a voice. And that's what happens, right? We have this, like, I can't do it. Aurea's better than me. Heather's better than me. And it's like, it's really about the content and the context and structure of it, and the intention. You're a leader, Aurea. You're a leader. You truly are a leader, and it's time that your voice gets amplified. And part of the process is that when you amplify your own voice, you amplify others. And that's what it's about.
Amen. I love that. I hope everybody does jump into that. So when's your workshop coming up? Did you say the date?
It's going to be the end of October, 29th, 30th, and 31st. It's only a small fee of $97. I am. I thought about moving it to the 28th just because I'm not a Halloweener, so I might move it.
Halloweener.
I'm not a Halloweener.
Those are kids and stuff. I mean, we'll never outgrow it. Oh my gosh. So go ahead.
It's okay. So it's the 29th, 30th, 31st. I probably should change it because everyone's a Halloweener. But so really what it's about is how to amplify your voice, how to uncage your voice, how to step into that power. What is a podcast? How do you create it? How do you create your brand, your name? Now, you came pretty easy. You're like, let's get celebritized. But most people come to the workshops and the events of like, what do I name it? How does this work?
You were instrumental, because I have celebritized your bit. I'm not going to tell them how you did this. They need to go to your workshop for that. But you have a secret sauce that they need to come and do. And that's how I got the Get Celebritized versus Celebritize Your Business. Because my whole brand, Celebritize Your Business on Clubhouse, CelebritizeYourBusiness.com for my programs and workshops. And when I came to you, I wanted it to be a little bit more catchy. And you had the perfect secret sauce. And it came to me because of that. So I just encourage everybody to go to your workshop, because they'll learn that secret sauce. And I always tell my clients, picking titles for, like, when I go to pick the title of this podcast too, it's not Get Celebritized with Ray McGarry. Nobody's going to know what that is. I pick a specific title that I use a tool to make it SEO rich. So after we do this, I'll pick out what we talked about, what was your, secret, goodness of this. And I make that the title, so it's searchable and people know exactly what it is, not just it's Get Celebritized, because it doesn't say anything to what this episode is about. So they need to come to your workshop to find out how to title their podcast, because the title is so important. They just can't throw that around.
So if you don't mind, I'd love to turn the conversation to social audio.
Please, let's do.
Let's do it. So, podcasting is one of the ways for social audio, right? So we met on a social audio app, which is Clubhouse. There's Fireside. There's other ones coming out. So what actually is social audio and where is it going? Well, there's a lot of things going on in the audio space. There's audio summits now. There's audio email, audio, they call it pocket coaching, where you send a little email and then you send the audio so people can listen to your email. There's all kinds of things. Now, why is this important? Because that's the mechanics, and the podcast is a mechanic. And you know this answer, but why is it important? It's important because we're in the age of what I call sonic branding, right? Sonic branding. You know this, right? So sonic branding is I can press a play button right now of a person named Oprah, and you'll know the voice without me saying her name. I could also play the button of the person named Trump, Trump, and you would know the voice too, like him or not. It's like you know the voice.
You know the voice, yes.
Tony Robbins, tone of the voice, Howard Stern, Joel Osteen. These are people like I could just pray a button, and in that instant, within 3 seconds, a human being will have a response. It might be love, like, oh, I love Oprah. It might be like Trump, whatever. Or Howard Stern, or oh my God, in seconds, right? That's why a baby can hear the voice of the mother and be like, Mom, and be 2 years old, 1 year old. It can hear, it's a connection. So the reason why it's so important over a visual, by the way, way more of a visual. So video is great, and we can't consume it while driving. Hopefully not driving.
Right. Hopefully not.
Snowboarding or whatever, like a lot of things. But we can consume audio, and we will have a deeper connection to the audio on listen than visual listen. We will have a deeper connection. And when people connect with you more, right? The intimacy goes up. When the intimacy goes up, the influence goes up, which then the connection goes up into the buy, like, and trust. No, like, and trust. So,
whoa, Heather, that's deep. That is so good. Say that again, because you just dropped an amazing golden nugget. Say that again. I love that.
So the more they listen to you, right, the more the intimacy goes up. And the more intimacy, the more influence. And the more influence, the easier the conversation to move people into buying, friendship, love, whatever. But let's call it, in the sake of business, moving them into being a client, knowing, like, and trust, and buying.
I love that.
I mean, I know people that have fallen in love have never met.
Oh,
I know, like you, I've never met you. But whenever I see you in person, like, it's an automatic love and hug. Like, there is no, like, who are you? We have to say hello. Like,
even on Clubhouse, hearing your voice.
Yeah, because I can hear your voice. I know your voice. I know you. And we've never technically met in real life. But because it's been so much time together in audio and now also video for our meetings, but still, like, even before that, like, I already knew you. I pretty much listen to you every day. I talk to you every day. Every day, right? And so it's like classmates, remember, in high school, and like you see them, you hear them every day. And so there's this deep connection, but it's an intimacy, and the intimacy is the influence.
I love that. The intimacy is the influence, which brings the impact. And remember Delilah on the radio? Delilah. I mean, never met her. I have no idea what she looks like, but that voice. Delilah. I know. And we knew it was like 8:00 on a Saturday night, and you're going to get the best love songs and the best love stories. And it just gave you that feeling.
And you would cry. I would cry because I wasn't in love. And I'm like,
but you're right.
Like, my boyfriend just got mad at me. So I'm like,
but we remember it, and it gave you, it's kind of like that smell that when you smell gingerbread cookies brings you back to Christmas, the memories, the olfactory, the nose has a better memory than our eyes and then our actual memory. The smell brings you back. And you're right. The voice gives you that connection. And I never thought of that until just now, that those voices really does make a difference. I hear sleigh bells. I've got 2 big sleigh bells here because now it's getting to me Christmas time. We start Christmas in July, and I hear the sleigh bells and I think Christmas and snow and Santa and reindeers, because you're right, it's an audio thing.
It's an audio thing. I've met so many people in Clubhouse in person, and like we never had any like, oh, hi, it's good to meet you. It was like hugs within seconds. It was, Priscilla, Haley, Tom, so many people within seconds. It was like, like just hugging on them. And because like they're friends already, there's a connection, an emotional connection. And now each one of them, I'm doing some level of business with them, right? It's an automatic, right? Because we're kind of like connected and besties in a way. It's just because we spend so much time together, like we're in a classroom. So my point is that as you celebritize your business, here's the point that people don't like. One, you have to allow people to judge you.
Oh God.
Right? Yeah. 2, you have to allow people to consume you. And when you allow people to consume you, they will love or hate you. Doesn't matter. Inside of the love or hate is the intimacy. I mean, how many people we know that we don't like, but we feel like we know them, we like them, but I don't know, like that's intimacy. Howard Stern's listeners, 55% of the listeners, meaning they literally consuming him, hate him.
Seriously. Oh my God.
They're sitting there consuming him.
And they don't like him.
And they don't like him. Right?
Now that's success.
Think of Trump. Think of Trump. How people consumed him daily and hated him too. So that you would think if you don't like someone, you wouldn't consume them.
Right.
But some people just like, it's more intimacy of it. So Kardashians, there's a lot of people that watch everything and hate them.
Right. It's a love-hate relationship. They want something to talk about.
They want something to talk about. It's the intimacy, because there's intimacy in anger and hate just as much as there's intimacy in love and adoration. Now, I'm not going to go into which one's better, but if you allow people to consume you and allow people to judge you, your business will skyrocket, as you have.
And that's one thing that also made me go to podcasts, because you had told me that people are consuming information different because they're not watching as much as they used to as much as I love TV. You're right. They can't watch it on the treadmill. You can on the treadmill, but driving, cycling, jogging, you're listening to podcasts because they've got the earbuds in and they're looking straight ahead at where they're going. And so we've got to be flexible enough to let them consume us, like you're telling. So with this knowledge now, give us some advice. What an entrepreneur that's listening to this, they're agreeing, they're loving us, they're hating us, whatever. And they say, okay, but now what do I do? So what should be some of their first steps to get into social audio in this realm you're talking about?
The first step is to get really clear on their right fit client. Like, who do they want to serve? And then the second piece of that and step of that, and that takes something, by the way, I'm saying it fast, but there's a lot of depth there. The second thing is, inside of your service, what's the message? What is it that you're going to serve them with, right? What's the thing you're going to help them, teach them a value? Now, let me pull back, because everyone comes to me and says, well, maybe I'm an expert, maybe I'm not, but I'm an advocate for this thing. They really want to help people with health and well-being, but they're not a doctor, so they don't feel qualified. And I always say to them, look, you ever heard of this woman called Oprah? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, she is not an expert in anything. She's not. Barbara Walters wasn't an expert in anything. Now, Barbara was a little different. She didn't create a brand around herself as much. Right. But Oprah was never an expert. She had an intention to bring spirituality, metaphysical, all that stuff to the world. And she interviewed, communicated, shared to the world. She never, and still really hasn't, stated she's an expert in anything. She doesn't have a book out like How to Be a Media Mogul. You know what I mean?
Right. She brings in the experts. She shines the light on experts.
Like you.
Yeah, and I love
Like
that.
you, so you don't, the reason I share that is because so many people right now, I've heard of like expert accelerators and authority
Mhm.
accelerators. And I've always really, I don't like that. I mean, people keep telling me you help people expert. I'm like, I don't agree with that because I don't really feel like you have to be an expert in a thing, because I would prefer to have people like yourself. You're an expert and you're an advocate, and that
Big
is more
advocate.
powerful. So anyway, that's step 2, is like,
Okay.
what's the message?
Okay.
And the
Message
message
and who
doesn't,
you're talking to.
yeah, it doesn't have to be like I'm the expert at the thing. You can curate the content. Think of Grow Rich Napoleon Hill. He was never an expert. He curated the content. Oprah, I could go on.
I
Right.
love that.
Even Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. If you read that book,
I love that
now
book.
he's given all the kudos of expertise. But if you read the book as it was designed, he's talking about his rich dad and his poor dad. Poor dad was the actual father,
Right.
and then rich dad was this mentor. Okay,
Right.
well, was he saying he was the expert? No, he was
Yeah.
saying this
What he
guy
learned.
is. And I learned from him. By the way, I know who this guy is, the dad guy. He lives in Austin,
Oh,
but I met him. And so it's just fascinating because if you look at Robert Kiyosaki now with his huge brand, he's positioned as an expert on gold and silver and a lot of great commercials, but he was never the expert at the beginning.
okay.
Yeah, it's really fascinating to look
That
at.
is. So okay, so once they know their message and they know who their market is for their social audio. Is the next step, if it's podcasting or Clubhouse or
I think
Fireside.
it's the combo, right? There's
Okay.
3 things, a triangle: media, social audio, and social media. So there's 3 pieces of this.
Okay.
So media is a podcast at the top of the triangle. Far to the left is a social audio, which is that's the community. So the podcast is the media and the content to repurpose.
Okay.
The relationships, like you and I building a relationship here. Social audio is really the community. It's a team sport. And then social media is really the content push to attract, right? In the conversion process on your social media, on your Instagram is where you start to convert the clients. Like, think about it. You and I met on Clubhouse, but then where did I convert you? It was in the DMs of Instagram, and then sent you a link, had some phone calls, audios, got on a call, right? Then the conversion happened to go to the workshop. So that was actually in social media.
And is that second part where you say social audio? So is the social audio like Clubhouse, Green Room? Clubhouse
So
considered social
Fireside, I
media?
would say Green Room is not a very good social audio platform because they don't create the community
Yeah, I
very
like
well
Clubhouse.
based on their algorithms. But technically,
Technically.
Fireside, the new one coming up with Facebook, if they ever get it off the ground with everybody else, and then Clubhouse. Those are the players at the moment.
Okay. And I think Clubhouse has got to be, it's my favorite. I love it. I mean, just meet the cool people. It's got the community. So I kind of don't do anything else when it's audio because I just want to be in one spot and saturate that, get to know everybody there. And we have built such a great community. I mean, it's like we're in a convention every single day and we go to breakout rooms wherever we want to go. And every time we open the door, it's, hey, how are you? And we're hugging. And a hug is bringing you up on stage. And then the extra is when you're moderating and you're helping. And it's the best thing that happened in the pandemic because without that, it was getting lonely. And this
I want to, if you don't mind, can I share my story on Clubhouse?
Please.
So it was, all 2020 was really challenging year for me, like most people. But the thing that I did that wasn't very good was that I would watch the media all day, like 3 hours a day. I was watching the news. Oh, wow. And, sitting there watching the news with on the right-hand side, even during commercials where they'd have like the ticker of all the deaths. Did you remember that? Like, right? Like, how could you like, look at that and not have your mind just like going crazy, So December 25th happened, Christmas, and I was supposed to go out of town. I got sick, and because of everything going on, I wasn't getting on a plane like coughing because I would just be kicked out, even though
Did you have COVID?
No, but I
Would be
just
too
didn't
sick.
want to get on a
Of
plane.
course, everybody'd be
So
like,
I decided not like right.
you'd be
So I
running
get on
from
the
you.
plane, and so I was home alone on Christmas. It was pretty sad. And then
Oh,
on December 26th, 2020, I woke up going, okay, I got through Christmas. Yay. And then my friend Robert Rapp, who happens to live here in St. Pete. I was living in Austin at the time, sends me this text and goes, you should check this out. And he sends it to me, an invite in this clubhouse. I click it. Next thing I'm in this room. I'm like, what is this thing? And then I am on it for days and days. I don't remember New Year's. I don't remember anything. But it really saved my life because I got out of the media and I got into conversations about business and entrepreneurship and social media and personal branding. And I mean, I was like, it was like a convention. It like saved me from the mess. And I share that with you because that's the power of your message. Even though I wasn't talking all the time, I was on stages, I'm not saying you should do this, 24/7.
mm-hmm.
But it got me into the right mindset. And then what it did is I began to listen. As people were coming on stages and raising their hand and asking questions, I came to listen going, wow, people don't know how to start podcasts. Well, I know how to do that. I've been doing
There you
this for
go.
5-6 years, right? I'm like, well, it was literally one night. And I told my girlfriends, I'm like, okay, I'm going to like do this podcast, like workshop thing. It's gonna be like 2 days, like next weekend. They're like, okay. And like, I sold out. And then like, I was like, well, that worked. Do it
That was
again.
fun. Now what?
Right.
I've been
But
watching the news.
right. But the power of social audio, which is different than media and social media, is you're hearing people's problems. And then you're like, oh, I can help people with that. Do people want that? Well, yeah, they want that. I can go solve that. I could do a course. I could do a coaching program, right? Like I listened and then I'm solving. That's what an entrepreneur does, right? Is like, how can we solve? And so that's how my workshops actually began. I was listening to what the people want. And at the end of the day, that's what entrepreneurship is. We listen to what people want and we solve their problems. So that's how it all started. And that's the power of the clubhouses and things like that, because people are open. Like, I'm having a problem with this, I'm having a problem with that. And like, where else do you get that?
It's amazing. I absolutely love it because you're right. Because you can be so honest and so vulnerable because all they do is see a picture of you and it's all audio. So you're really like on these like phone chats, these phone calls. And it's amazing because people are really pouring in absolutely for free. We're in rooms with people we would have never been able to be in a room with before, including ourselves, because they get access to us as well. And that normally cost people something to be at events where we're speaking and where other people are speaking. We've got the John Lees and the really neat people that are everywhere.
People in UK and Russia
God,
and India.
World. Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it. I love all these. It's so amazing. And you can pop in with Les Browns and just all these people that, and then there's celebrities, but I've yet to kind of fall into the celebrities. I've been just so into what comes up in my hallway is all, the great, inspirational speakers, which is cool. But I found also it's a great place, which I really want to start talking about and teaching on after my birthday tomorrow, is raising funds for nonprofits in 5 minutes, just in one of the rooms. Now, this isn't an instant thing. This is like anything. When you've nurtured something and then something happens, you're able to talk about it and then people respond. It's not because I showed up that day and said, hey, everybody. It was, I already had nurtured the relationship. I was in this club, happened to just happened to say, hey, I'm just about, I think I'm going to do this. And I'm starting today at 60 days to 60,000 for Haiti. But like I said, these people already knew me, liked me, trusted me. They're part of the community. I had no idea how much until 1 minute later, somebody from Sweden said, I'll give $10,000. And then the founder of the group said, I'll give you 1,000. And in 5 minutes, 11,000 was put into the account of this wonderful nonprofit, not me, right to the nonprofit. That's the relationships you can build in this community, and trust me, you do things right, people will know. You do things wrong, people will know. And it's such a great community.
Yeah, that's another thing, right? If you I learned that tonight there was something going on and I was like, this is what happens. They don't understand the power of this. It's kind of like school,
Yeah,
We
it
all
is. We're
know
gonna know the bad
when
guys
someone
are.
got in trouble, went to the principal's office, we're like, whoa, but people do talk. It is a community, and yeah, it's a team sport. I will tell you that one of my biggest mistakes in business when I first got started is I didn't recognize that business was a team sport. I didn't recognize that. I was one for all for one. I'm the business owner, and you not gonna happen. That does not work.
Yeah,
And
collaboration's big, and
it's
Clubhouse
a collaboration. Yeah. And I don't really want to do it like that again. That was very young. I was 25. I was egotistical, right? Right. That was last year. Yeah. And I think that that's what happens a lot with young entrepreneurs is they don't realize that entrepreneurs need other entrepreneurs.
You don't want to be a solopreneur.
It is. You do not want to be by yourself at home in your brain. It's not a good idea.
It's not pretty. Not a pretty place. But you do need collaboration. You grow faster. And collaboration, I see a lot of that on Clubhouse. It's absolutely amazing. So if you're listening, follow us on Clubhouse. Aurea McGarry, Heather Ann Havenwood. Find us. Get with us. We'll open up amazing rooms in your hallway if you do follow us. It's a great place. Get in, get heard, get seen, get your message out there. Heather, give us your website again. We've got about maybe 8-10 minutes left. I want to give you some rapid fire questions for fun that I like to do at the end. But give us your website one more time. I've got Heather and Havenwood, but I don't know if that's what you want. So tell us verbally where you want people to go to find out more about you and your workshop.
So they're more than happy to go to heatherhavenwood.com. That's HEVEN, havenwood.com. Right now, my upcoming event, though, is influencerprofitlive.com. And if you don't remember any of that, honestly, I live in my DMs on Instagram. And so if you're like, hey, I listen to you and get Celebritized podcast, I'd love to know more about you, or where's your next event, or, whatever. On Instagram, just type in Heather, HEATHER, and then Haven, HAVEN, and then Wood, WOOD, and I pop right up. I'm the only one. So really, that's the best place. Follow me there. Please say hello, message me, tell me hello, how are you? If I'll give you a free gift, if anyone DMs me on Instagram, the keyword Bible, just Bible, y'all give you a free influencer brand Bible. It's just basically a free download, and you'll get it inside the bot. But here's the thing, you'll get it in a bot will respond to you, but it tells me like who you are, and then like tell me how you heard about me. But yeah, the next coming event is the Influencer Profit Live, where it's going to be really amazing opportunity, I think.
I'm so glad it is. And I just want to encourage everybody listening, watching. She's the real deal. This podcast is here in the flesh because of this woman right here next to me. And I am so excited. Whatever she's doing that teaches you how to do podcasts, and she knows her stuff. And
you're doing great. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Great. Her brand's amazing. Your brand's amazing. You should go check out her. You should go check out your Spotify, because you've done a really good job inside of the hosting company. I suggest to create an image for each one, and not everyone does that. It was really smart of you.
Thank you. I learned from the best. You're amazing. Collaboration. There you go. Yes. I love it. Well, now for some fun, Heather, I'm going to ask you just a couple of quick fun questions for the last, let's say 9 minutes. First of all, Heather, what is your biggest dream? Biggest thing on your bucket list? What is it?
Really, to be a New York Times bestselling author.
Ooh, you're going to do that too.
I am going for it.
See, I know the inside scoop. There you go. All right, this is a fun one. What, if any, but I'm sure there's some, what TV or movie impacted your life in some way?
What TV or movie? Okay, I'm going to do TV series. They have series now,
Of course.
The Queen of the South, because there was a few of them. So Queen of the South, that was on USA. and I'm Teresa Mendoza. I just love Teresa Mendoza.
Why?
And
Why? How did it change your life?
she just, I watched that series, God, probably more than 4 times. What the actress, or at least the Teresa Mendoza, she came from nothing. She came from, the streets. She was not supposed to be anything. She was supposed to be just, they call it a mule in the drug business. She ended up being one of the largest drug cartels in the South at that time as a female in the Latina business. I mean, and what was so fascinating about her in the story is that she just was underestimated, and it's me for sure. I was definitely underestimated, which I'm glad now, because the last thing I wanted to be was the kid was like, oh, Heather's gonna be amazing, she's gonna rock it, and then I'm like, oh, I sucked. Like, oh, she was gonna be a good one. Like, we don't know what happened. Versus like, she's gonna be nothing. Like, oh, we didn't think she'd do that. So that's why I resonate with her. So
I love that. That's so different. Nobody said that one. I love that. Okay, Heather, as a coach, we all know as coaches, we all have our own coaches and many coaches in times. Who has been the most influential coach in your life or mentor?
Oh, Kim. Well, you met Kim. Kim has been with me
Kim, yes,
for a long time, 13 years.
What's Kim's last name?
Kim Del Damasco. I can't even say it.
Oh, perfect.
And I'm like one of her besties.
What is it about her that is really resonating? Because I love her too. She's just precious. But tell us what the key thing she's done for your life to make it better.
Here's what I think a great coach is. They don't try to be your friends. They're truthful no matter what. And they stand by your decisions. They don't make you wrong. And they see you bigger than you see yourself, period. Her and I have now become dear friends, but I still listen to her as coach. And there were times she said things to me that did not land well, but she was able to say them because she saw me bigger than who I saw myself to be. And that is the job of a coach. Whenever you have a coach who's kissing your ass or trying to make you feel better, that ain't a coach.
You're not growing.
Okay. Yeah. That's not a coach. So I wanted someone that would tell me straight, even if I never got so mad I never talked to her again, which that was not true a few times, but that was not true. But there were other coaches I had that were just pandering. And some were good, some were good, but some were just not that great. But that's why.
I love that.
And I think that everyone should have a coach.
Amen.
That you feel sees you bigger than who you see yourself at the moment. And we'd love to say that that's our parents, but let's be clear. It's probably
right. No, we need coach.
Right. We love to say it's our spouse, but it's probably not. We love to say it's our children, but it's probably not, And I think one of the things that I found with my clients is that when I stand in that, it does give them kind of this permission to alleviate the expectations on their friends and family that they have to see them great.
Yeah.
My job is to see them great and to help them in that process.
Plus, a coach always has to be somebody that's where you want to be. It has to be above you because you can't go sideways with a coach. It has to be somebody that's like, I went to you to show me how to do a podcast because you know how to do that. My friends, my family aren't there. So when it comes to coaching, you've got to reach up. And I love what you say. They bring you up to their level. They're not pandering down to yours. Otherwise, why are you paying them? So you're paying them to take you to the next level. And I think that's real important. So you hit the nail on the head. That's awesome. We love Kim. Shout out. Okay. Now, what famous, dead or alive, celebrity or influencer would you most want to have dinner with? And if you did, what first thing you would ask them?
Oh, okay. Well, it's got to be Madonna.
Madonna. Oh, I haven't heard that.
I was in second grade. My mom took me to her concert which was very taboo in Houston, Texas in 1983.
Oh,
It was Like a Virgin.
In 1983.
I know, Like a Virgin tour. My mom, the school night, took me and my sister, and I remember seeing her gallivanting across the floor in her bridal dress, humping the bed. And I'm like, what is this? You know, my mom was like, woo! And I'm like,
I love it.
I don't think we should be seeing this. So,
what would you ask Madonna?
And now I've seen like 5 of her concerts. Like I've flown to DC. I've seen 6 of her concerts. My sister and I. Great. What I've asked her, like,
what would you ask her? What do you want to know most?
I would want to know, because what she did is she made her brand so memorable that, like, no matter her age, she's just like this powerhouse. But then she was able to create a music business around it. So I would ask her about how did she do that, and how does she really stand in her brand and make those decisions that many times people thought she was done, but she stood by those decisions and she barreled through them.
Yeah, and long lasting. So that's great.
Long lasting brand. Like, she really created a long lasting brand.
Recreating
by herself. Like, I mean, she has a team, but really it was her genius. So
I think that's a great one. Oh, I just love that. Okay. Now in the last minute that we have, Heather, it's been wonderful having you. Oh my gosh, I hope you come back. No, everybody's just gotten so much out of everything you've said. This was such a treat, Heather. It really was, really is and was. So now, how do you want to be remembered? What's your legacy?
Madonna, just kidding. Honestly, my biggest legacy is I want to be known as that I helped 1 million women start, launch, scale their own business, period. That's really my legacy. I'm into my legacy play right now. Like, I started it when I moved here to St. Pete. I speak it. Part of the book is part of that. Because at the end of my, I laugh with Kim all the time. We both live in Florida, so we have this ongoing joke that we're going to be in a nursing home together or something.
Yep, there you go.
In East Florida, And so I always tell her, like, when on my dying bed, when I'm sitting in the nursing home with you, having somebody like rub my shoulders in East Florida, I want to be able to say I did that. And what I want to say is I helped 1 million women start, run, and launch their own businesses, and be a New York Times bestselling author. Yeah, that's really, really what I want. I mean,
you'll do it, Heather. Oh my gosh, we've got a hard stop. You've been great. This has been Get Celebritized with my special guest, Heather Ann Havenwood. Look her up. Look me up, Aurea McGarry. And we are out for the night. See you next time at Get Celebritized. Thank you, Heather.